I don't think it's a matter of it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I'm
When.
speaking like a politician.
Yeah, it's a matter of when. And we have seen Africa it's a growing community. The F1 community is growing in Africa. And, if F1 comes to Africa, they will be catering to a huge demographic, 54 countries.
Through goes Hamilton! You can hear it!
Hi
Hi,
guys,
guys.
my name is
My name
Winnie.
is Ray.
And welcome to the Wheelspin Podcast, the home of Formula One content and everything motorsport. So we are back with a special episode today. We are
Yes.
going to be digging into the roots of F1 in Africa. So we are just going to talk about the presence of Formula One in Africa and maybe look at the future of Formula One in Africa. Like, are we going to get a race in Africa? Yeah.
Hopefully. So the Belgian Grand Prix was renewed to 2025 so that removes any possibility of us racing in Africa till maybe 2025. And unfortunately, Africa is the only continent we don't race in. F1 is supposed to be a world tour kind of thing,
I
but
think it is like they say, it's like a world championship, and it's quite unfortunate. And I mean, of course, like F1 itself, like the body and the people who represent F1 have come out severally, to say like it's a shame that it's meant to be a global sport, but yet
we don't.
we've had quite the break from the continent itself.
We've seen very many icons in the sport come out and say we need to go race in Africa. It is imperative. We've seen Lewis Hamilton say that he wants to race in Africa.
And Max Verstappen as well. And he's
Yeah.
in, I think there's just generally Lewis said it's quite important for him before he retires to actually race in
Race
the
in
motherland.
yeah.
And it's quite important because I think Formula One has raced in Africa before. It has raced in South Africa, it has raced in North Africa, in Morocco, Casablanca. So I don't think it's a matter of it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When.
I'm speaking like a politician.
Yeah, it's a matter of when. And we have seen Africa it's a growing community. The F1 community is growing in Africa. And, if F1 comes to Africa, they will be catering to a huge demographic, 54 countries.
And
So they need to
and the
not pick
population
just
as-
one,
Yeah.
but several countries to come racing. I mean, they're racing in the US alone. How many times?
3 times this
Yeah,
year.
3
right?
times.
We've
So
gone to
they-
Miami,
Las
We're
Vegas.
going to Austin this weekend, and we're going to Las Vegas.
Yeah, so we need to, have this conversation. It's an important conversation to have to bring F1 and not only just the racing aspect of Formula One into Africa,
But,
but there's so much more that
The structural
Yeah.
the structural involvement of Africa as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time. I think with the with changing economic environment and everything, and looking and tapping into, for example, the African population, we have a growing, the interest for motorsport is inherent. For example, in our country, we are based here in Kenya. In Kenya, we have a very huge motorsport base, drawing from the WRC, that's the World Rally Championship. And we actually do have an FIA regulate, FIA made a return to the Safari Rally, I think in 2021, was it? 2022? After a long break.
It was after COVID.
It was
right?
after COVID, yeah. I think around 2021, FIA made a return, made a return to Kenya.
Yeah, to race. So I feel like if there's already one FIA regulated event, we can have more. And
yeah.
Now the teams can tap into the population, the fan base of motorsport and Formula One, and just not only that, the sustainability aspect in things like climate change that F1 is really pushing, and Africa in general is pushing, because Kenya, we hosted the whole climate change
We had
summit.
a summit for
summit.
just previously. And I think to add on to what you're saying, I think we we have seen even not only Formula One but other global like series as well. We have, for example, Extreme E, Formula Extreme E. Extreme E is another series that really focuses on. I think it's quite like a good. I think it's a good prototype. Like I don't know, like it's such a good series. Like there's sustainability, like at all levels.
Yeah.
It requires you to have a male and female driver, and they're racing in this like extreme
Extreme.
environments to just also promote the message of let's take action for the climate crisis, the climate change. And I think it's something that also like Formula One is also, I mean, trying to do as well. And by
like-
racing here in Africa, you'd be tapping into like a big, I mean, gone are
like
the
we said,
days
it's
where we just
54
think
countries.
yeah, we need like a spotlight on Africa
Yeah,
because
and-
we are Africa. We love racing, we love Formula One, we love motorsports, and it would mean, if anything, it would be like a win-win for both entities.
Yeah, and we've seen Formula E raced in Cape Town this year.
They had So
yeah,
I think,
so it's clearly we have the capacity. We can host a race here. Just we need that chance to actually host it. And like you said, most people don't know that South Africa ever held a Formula One race.
yeah. So I think we can just like
Yeah.
think we can just go off on that tangent as well. Like I think South Africa as as a country on its own is a country that has like rich motorsport history. Like we had them staging international like events as early as the early 1930s. We had them staging their first international race in 1934, and this is just like people being audacious enough. We had people who love cars,
Yeah.
who love racing, and they're like, you know what, like let's set it up, and then it gets going. I think, but South Africa, I really wanted like and maybe this is just a conversation starter. Maybe we can actually just even talk to a South African or someone like in South Africa who has maybe that direct like information from their own country and what maybe motorsport means for them as a country as well.
Yeah.
So it's a country that has very, very rich motorsport roots. We've gone racing there as Formula One. Like several times we had. I think they have very many variations of a South African Grand Prix actually.
Yeah,
like the Formula One is not the only one.
They had like their own national. Actually, it was African Grand Prix that took place in South Africa. So, it's something that has been. It's not like it's a totally new thing that
It
we
wouldn't
are
be like it
introducing.
wouldn't be a new thing
Yeah.
because again, South Africa again, it's nice to just point out is a country that had its own national F1 championship going on, and it was actually FIA regulated. Like from 1960 to around 1975, they had their own national championship going on, and we had the first world championship racing in South Africa. That's in Kyalami. It's a Kyalami or
Yeah, I
Kyalami.
mean,
Yeah, whatever we say.
Forgive us. I'm
Yeah,
not South African.
we are, but we are trying. Yeah.
yeah.
So we had the first installment like of an FIA regulated event in South Africa. I think being staged in 1962. I think Formula One went racing there. I think they do towards the end of March or something. Just when South African summer, just trying to tap into also like the tourism aspect
yeah.
of it. So that was the first like FIA sanctioned event, a South
Yeah,
African
they-
Grand
and
Prix,
they've-
1962.
and They raced there for quite a while.
And actually, that 1962 was actually like a very good, important like Grand Prix because that's where like I think Graham Hill was crowned
Yeah.
champion,
Yeah,
and
Graham
also
Hill
the first his team, I think British Motor Racing, the team was actually crowned constructors champion as well. So it actually has served like as a as an important place for
Yeah, it's just
Formula
not
One.
just racing
Yeah.
for racing.
And I think when I look at the history, I was looking like when I was, gathering data, a bit of data for this, and we'll link the material that we actually read
Yeah.
for this particular episode in the description box. So I was actually like, there was like, this interest, the moment you see you can stage, we have international people like coming to participate very early on, like I'm saying the 30s,
Yeah,
40s,
the
in
1930s.
the 30s, that is like,
Were you born? Anyway, yeah. in the 1930s.
Yeah, so we even had like presence of manufacturers coming to South Africa. Like we had Ford set up a plant, Ford, the manufacturer,
Yeah.
General Motors as
Motors.
well, setting up like a plant in South Africa. And honestly, that like those are just, I'm thinking those are just different ways we can, what is it? Like include F- Africa in on the map. Like,
Yeah,
is it
because
centering like
Africa, when Formula One comes into Africa, there's so many, like you said, there's so many aspects of basically, motorsport and Formula One. So there's the technology bit of, the cars, there's the hospitality bit as
would
well.
work? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so much that will come into Africa when Formula One comes into Africa. And then, like Formula One is a global thing, global in that sense. So
Yeah.
most people will now start to think, oh, if Formula One races in Africa, this is also, it's a good way of selling Africa to the rest of the world and selling our brains in the way that we show other people that, actually that if the race can come here and you can see other people, working behind, the drivers, you can also do that yourself. So basically, it's also a learning opportunity.
Definitely, and I think it's just we shouldn't be doing like justifying why we need F1 like F1 racing in Africa, because I think we've established ourselves as a tech hub as well. We have big companies like Google setting up like bases, headquarters here in Africa. Like I think it's here in Nairobi
in
as well.
Nairobi.
So we have we are advancing. There is like a need for Formula One, and I think it's very important that that we get a race very very soon. I think as we said, with Spa being confirmed till 2025, it was like one of the prospective like Grand Prix that would actually be replaced by a South African Grand Prix or like but then its confirmation to 2025 really does like we have to keep waiting. But I don't think I'm not very like I'm not very pessimistic. Like I'm quite optimistic
I
because
mean-
we had even like Stefano Domenicali, that's the F1 chairman, the F1 head. He's
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a team principal, but he is basically that F1 CEO.
CEO.
Yeah, he flew down. I think last year.
Last year.
Last year he flew down to South Africa, and I think I mean the news coming out of there was like, I mean, I don't know, is there like, I don't know, political reasons why we shouldn't go racing there?
Yeah, but I mean, I
No,
feel
I
like
think-
that's just an excuse.
I don't know. I want to speak about it because I kind of understand it. Because I think, when you look at the relationship of South Africa, the entanglement of South Africa and F1 is actually, Formula One continued racing there when, like, there was this turmoil still going on in South Africa.
and then
with-
they stopped
they did.
because of political reasons.
Again,
Yeah.
but also like at the first, it was like a whole entanglement because like there was all these things happening. There's apartheid, Sharpeville massacre, all these things, but still Formula One was still like quite present there. And it's mostly like the reason being that FIA didn't have like a lot of membership from Africa, drawn from African countries then, and that's why maybe Formula One continued racing when other sports were actually like when South Africa was actually banned from other
Yeah,
national
because
like
of what was happening.
yeah. So I think when they talk about political reasons, but I know, I do not. The sanctions and I don't know. I feel like, okay, that would
If we talk about political reasons, we've seen also other countries that share the same political interests with South Africa also are on the map, and we're racing in those countries. So, I don't know if I will take that,
very seriously.
very seriously. and
You're
be
just like,
oh,
yeah,
I'm like, it's a reason,
but not.
but it's not. For me, it's not really justifiable. I will say maybe if they say we need more capacity, because like
You have to build
Kilami is
capacity.
not it's
Not
not
up
a
to
very
par.
it's not up to par. It's a grade 2 circuit.
Yeah.
So when we say maybe capacity in terms of funds and basically that, maybe I will say that is the reason, but that's something that they can expand. It's not like they can expand, but I wouldn't say political reasons is the main reason why we're not racing in South Africa.
But the thing is, the other thing is that like like what goes first of all, like I mean when we say like Kelami is a grade 2 circuit, actually I was listening. I wanted to learn about how F1 designs like or is it FIA like designs the racing tracks. Like can I just send my like can I just scribble something up and just send it over and be like, can you consider this as a racing
Racing
circuit? But then of course, like it's a lot of mathematics, but it's an art as well, a science and art as well. Like there's the engineering aspect of it, the mathematical, like they do a lot of things. They do like mathematical simulations, but mostly, in the era of, computer generated stuff, like you can easily just tell like a software to just come up with something. Oh, I think we saw Miami. The track is actually, I actually like the track layout. It's actually very beautiful. I don't know. It's just nice. I love it. And I think,
No, I thought you were talking about Las Vegas.
yeah. No, but you know what? Like, you know what? I'd like to go racing there. I mean, honestly, like they have practice sessions. Is it 3 in the morning? Like very late into the night because this is the first time we'll go racing on a Saturday, like on a
I don't
Saturday.
want to, take away from what we are talking about, but the race
That's
is
like
for,
showbiz.
It's for celebrities.
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
showbiz.
for us.
By me, I'd be so game to come in. I'm like I want to go. As in, I don't know. It looks like the most. I don't know. It's not, like extreme in all
If you wanna go
ends.
to party, then go party.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Wait,
Yes. And I can't wait to see. And then Ricardo is going to also be present. Like at least. Okay, that's if he doesn't hurt his finger again. His hand.
Free. But well, getting back on track on what we are saying, we have shown that we have capacity to host things on a global scale. Like South Africa in 2010, they held the World Cup.
That's big.
Yeah, that's big. So we have seen
We have
we have the
capacity.
capacity to host such things. Also, with racing going to Morocco, we've gone to Morocco.
Yeah, we actually like
We
held a
went.
very interesting race in 1958. I think in Morocco. It was also like I think title decider or something. It was actually like an interesting. And Morocco is beautiful. Like as in, of course, it has
Yeah.
its own like
And
problems
also,
as a country.
like we're saying, like
Casablanca.
racing, showing that Africa can hold these events in a global scale. Morocco was taken as part of the countries that are going to host the 2030
World Cup again. Yeah, I think this. I mean, as we're saying, and speaking to sustainability of Formula One, we can't just build a racetrack where only Formula One comes to race this year. Stays
then we
empty.
forget about it.
Yeah, but and I think it's in line with like I think F1 also like did this report. I think around in 2021, like this report on diversity and inclusion. And among the recommendations that the report gave was have this working conversations and with national sporting bodies, national ones,
Yeah.
trying to build capacity from that level. Like if you want to see African racers or like African drivers racing in global platforms, that means we have to build capacity from
Yeah,
from the ground
ground up.
up. Exactly. And I think there is talent, and I think we have
Yeah, there
proved
is
there is
talent.
and I think racing in Africa would, I think, draw from Kenya hosting a round of the World Rally Championship. Like, we have capacity and it involves community. There's a motorsport community to tap into. We have capacity, you come and inspire children, show people that they can. And I think it would be like a very important message for Formula One to come and race in Africa. And also, like now, the other interesting thing in line of calling for an African race, we also had Zanzibar, like
Yeah,
through Zipper, like that's like
yeah.
a rally body, like a promoter, actually placed a serious bid to host a Formula.
like we
I love Zanzibar. It's beautiful. Like I think racing with that backdrop, like of Zanzibar and the Indian Ocean, Jesus Christ, like
they
it's
will just be going on holiday. The drivers will be going.
yeah,
on
and then
holiday.
like that is also tapping into like I feel like it will change. I mean, and of course we say Formula One races, they change. I mean, they are contributors of economic development and everything. We can't understate we can't we cannot overstate
Yeah.
the value
That
of Formula One.
One.
Exactly. So I still believe like it will be like a win-win like situation. I mean, of course, there's so many details that goes into planning a Formula One race, and checking. You just don't want to race in one place like this year and cancel next year. You need sustainability. But I just believe there's capacity. There are people who are on the ground. There are like so many motor sport enthusiasts who are, people with data. There is data in Africa. So, and I'm so sure when Formula One, and I hope this is soon, decides to come to Africa, we will be ready. We are actually
We're
ready.
ready.
I mean, testament. We are two girls in Kenya
Yeah,
creating Formula One content, and we actually do have like quite a growing and buzzing community. So it's testament that the future of Africa is actually very, very bright, and we believe we do deserve a sport in the global motorsport as well.
I went to look at the F1 calendar and see African countries, not
countries. We have to have like different Grand Prix because we can't say
I-
you're calling it a world championship, but then you're not going to
You're not touring
Africa.
the world.
We're not touring the world.
Yeah.
So
we are optimistic that we will see that.
Yeah, and also that opens up to these different car manufacturers again, setting up more plants in Africa. Changing the economic layout of different African communities. So that means we even had this. I mean, I know people criticized him for it, but I don't know. I kind of like that he was audacious and not delusional. Alfred Mutu. Honestly, I mean, he did come up saying he wanted. Alfred Mutu is like a Kenyan politician, and I think
He was ex Machakos governor.
Yeah. So he came out and he had like this design to actually like design a Formula One track around Machakos. And Machakos is actually like, I know people like, we made fun out of it, of course, like, I mean, as per usual as a country, like, because, but from Machakos does have this places that you can go and do, is it drag races or whatever?
Yeah, people, there's a lot of car
I've
events
been
that-
there.
that
I've been to
go-
Machakos, and it's like actually like it's actually a beautiful place with like endless,
I feel
like a
if-
beautiful
If
landscape.
Formula One was to race in Kenya, I think Machakos would be a good
Ideal,
place.
right?
Ideal.
Yeah.
It's not too far from the
City
but also it's far enough from the city.
for you to feel like you are out of the city.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's actually like a beautiful county as
Yeah.
well and a beautiful place. So I think, and also I know people are complaining, oh yeah, I mean, we can't go racing when the surrounding communities are like maybe struggling with maybe food security and stuff like that. But remember again, when Formula One comes here, it's trying to uplift. And I love the way, I don't know, I just love, for example, I think we mentioned that, was it in Italy,
Yeah, in
where we
Italy.
had that pizza place or run by was it autistic?
Yeah, autistic.
Staff, and it's like quite inclusive. And I mean, I know sometimes people will say it's showbiz, but it goes a long way because I'm so sure Formula One racing here, like for example, in a place like Machakos, would be so jobs for the people around. And again, remember, like we're calling for sustainability. So when we say we're not just racing in Formula One just this time and then we move,
forget
no,
about
no,
it.
no. It's like it would form grounds for, is it maybe karting
Yeah,
or
for
like
us,
other.
things, there's so much that
We can-
do. When we have Formula One, we have
Yeah.
Formula 2, we have
Formula 3, another
probably
series, a national series, a series,
yeah,
as well.
series.
A
We can
single
have the
seater
the
series.
women's series also
Coming to
race
Kenya,
here. So
or-
there will be it will be
This is us placing a bid for
Yeah.
Kenya.
we can have an African like series that will
Yeah.
come to race here. So basically, there's a lot.
And I think,
that can happen,
and
a
I
lot
think,
can be
and
contributed.
I also think the other reason why I think now we're seeing a lot of, I think previously, the intersection of sports and politics was not like so much, but I think over the recent years, we've had, incidences that have really like shaken up even these traditional sports that's, set up like so rigid.
Yeah.
We had like NASCAR, for example, we have Wallace Buba, who races, he's a NASCAR driver there. He's still driving now, right? So, I mean, and we had like NASCAR come out, at least prohibit the Confederate flag that was always
Yeah.
run. Like, you see, such things like, I think in the wake of so many things happening, we've had Lewis Hamilton, you remember okay, rest in peace, Breonna Taylor,
Yeah, the Black
George
Lives
Floyd. Like we
Black
had,
Lives.
we've had like so much now. The sports cannot turn a blind eye to things happening. And it's in the same, like now we need to be, this, the song of diversity and inclusion is actually, it's just something that maybe is majorly misused.
Yeah,
You're just
we
thrown
don't,
around
want
because we're
diversity and inclusion because it's woke.
yeah,
It's a woke thing to do, but because we actually want to promote diversity and inclusion.
and the only
Especially
way you
from
can do this is not just by putting up a post. Like do something about it. Like build capacity for these people when you
don't say that you want African voices. You cannot hear African voices from people who are not African. We are the only people who can
tell our stories.
tell our stories.
So
if you
yeah.
want to bring all this into that, then this is a place to be.
Africa is a place to be. Yeah. So I think
Again, we mostly have good weather all through the year.
we
so-
don't have winters. I mean, I think South Africa is.
I mean, I'm not saying the entire year, but most of the year we have good weather, so you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about torrential rain that will make.
or extreme
us
weather
not
making
go
drivers
east.
faint or
Yeah.
whatever. So I think that's a proper beat. I feel like South Africa, Morocco, Kenya, Zanzibar, like they all seem so nice, and it would be so nice to come racing. And again, Kenya does. I mean, it's FIA regulated. We've run the Safari Rally for so many years.
Yeah, we will continue to run it.
Exactly. So I think it's just a call for proper decision making and proper attention to Africa as a continent, because we have so much to offer and we are ready to offer it.
We should come race here. So
This is just
Stefano
a
Domenicali.
Stefano, please. Yeah, like, and Formula One, and let's rally behind
Media.
Liberty Media. Like, let's rally behind. I mean, of course, yeah, cash is king, but cash is here as well.
Yeah.
There's cash here in Africa.
Yeah.
So I think this is just a conversation starter. I'm so sure this is a series we'll keep on building on. This is just tell us, your thoughts, and we hope to continue talking to you on our social media as well. So thank you. Remember to follow us on Instagram at
The Will Spin Podcast.
subscribe to our channel at the Will Spin Podcast, of course, where you're watching this, and follow us wherever you're listening us from. So
Yeah. And
Thank-
engage with us. Thank you.
thank you so much. Bye.